You are watching the Nelson County Fiscal Court meeting from May 21st, 2013, brought to you by Central Kentucky Television. The meeting began with discussion from the Fiscal Court about a proposal from Salt River Electric regarding land at the industrial park. There was also a proclamation read declaring May 19th through the 25th as Emergency Medical Services Week.
Average for this property here. Everybody following so far? Now, there's two ways we can sell property. You can publicly auction it, you can sell bid. We would go through the process of public auction with stipulations, obviously, of what can go there. This is already zoned property.
What zoning is it, Joe?
I1. Light industrial. Now, we sold Flower Foods this property for $18,000 an acre. It laid much better than this property would lay. Now they've got an option on some of this property. 15,000 acres. I mean, I might not be holding it up where you can see it. Right. And then we're also talking, and this is on the agenda as well, talking to Salt River about a piece of property for a radio tower. All I'm saying, everybody's kind of aware of and made aware of that idea. And we're kind of looking at, and Brad, you've been in on those discussions, kind of looking, I think, right over here across from the water tank.
It's on that area.
It'd be about right.
It's that red triangle in that area.
Right there, that one. Is it red? Yeah.
What is the elevation different?
Same. It's almost the same as the water tank. You can see there's a ditch that runs right through there and right through there. So that's a piece of property that we're working for. That's where we're both. Yeah, this is too valuable right here. That radio tower, I have no. Takes up about 3.5 acres of ground. And the reason we began conversations with this option, 3.5 acres of ground of our industrial property that you could sell to someone is an expensive piece of property. To where if you can team up with and partner with Salt River, it became more advantageous for both.
What are you talking about when you say partnered?
They let us put a tower on their property. A couple of their options do a 99-year lease, not 100-year lease.
But we would be paying for it. It's not just a
partner. $1 a year.
Keith, we would build the tower. We have a 100-year lease on their property, which is not very good ground. See, if we put it on our property, we take 3.5 acres of real good flat.
You're taking $18,000 an acre ground to put a
they've got some rough ground in the back, same elevation they need for the height of the tower.
We're expecting to get between 20 and 30,000.
But we would, the tentative discussion has been that we would build the tower, pay to have a tower built. And they would lease the ground to us, but now they get to use the tower also.
Yeah.
And we're working that out, Joey.
That's part of the partner deal. You're going to let them put their antenna on our
tower.
tower.
On their property, and we'll be able to access it through their new building. Brad was showing you where their new building will be.
But it could be a possibility we could swap some of that ground. You know, for some of the acreage that that we're going to desire here, we could even own the acreage if we did a swap on. You know, some of the acres there.
If you do that, you lose for $1 a year.
I
wouldn't think that'd be advantageous. They're willing to. They're really high on the idea of shared tire in the back. See, they're going to build a tire right next to where we would have, and it'd be silly to have two right next to each other. So, and their land is rough. I mean, they're not going to do nothing back there against Bluegrass Parkway. It's rough ground, but it's a good place for a tire.
This property has an appraised retail value of about $17,000 an acre.
Now that up front is rough for us to develop. Doesn't have sewer. It's got water close. The land Dean's talking about that Salt River would like to have, it gives them property all the way up to the road.
You get them all the way up to the road.
And it's very rough.
Reduce our debt by $200,000.
It probably would never be developed with us.
We probably wouldn't sell this property. It'd be the last property we'd ever sell at the tail end of our development over the next 20 years, 15 years.
It's a high bank and it's not big enough for an industrial facility. I guess you could put some kind of commercial thing there, Dean, I guess.
I really don't want that in an industrial park.
Well, you could take it, some of those are 5-acre tracts. I don't know if you realize that or not, but 2 or 3 or 4 of them are. And we've got them listed on the acreage. You could put a small machine shop, you could put, like, 10,000, like a boom machine shop or something in there. So it has some value, it's not, that's why I try to tell Nikki or Larry, I said, everything out there's got a value to me.
Sure.
Well, even the mushrooms that the guy who has got a value to me.
The legality question is, we will have to put it for sale.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said, there's only 2 ways you can sell property.
When you talk about swapping REA, we can't really do that.
We can do it if we advertise it that way.
Can we?
Yeah.
So what do you feel like the swap
We
needs
did
to be?
it with Boone's Butcher Shop, and we did it, once they're not advertised,
It's not a condition of sale.
If we could lease for $1 a year.
If we don't work out the deal.
We're talking about
buying the land.
2 different animals here, we need to deal with.
We're not gonna swap
Okay,
the
okay.
radio
Yeah,
tower.
okay, no.
No. I agree.
We're dealing with
with
2
that.
different animals.
I agree with
The radio tower needs to be a shared
Okay, sorry.
entity. That's fine.
I agree with that, that's awesome. So what do you think?
I would propose to advertise, declare that those lots surplus and advertise with the full intention that Salt River would be one of the bidders. Just be upfront with the public on it, no use of trying to skirt around it, and set a minimum bid of what we've got in the property. We can always reject any and all bids. That's the only way we can sell the property.
So how much do you think we've got in that property?
I know exactly what we got. I know exactly $10,500.
How'd you come up with that conclusion?
Well, so we have 341.6 acres. We owe $3.611 million, and you divide that out.
Okay, what about all this nice road frontage that we put in here on that? Was that added in your equation?
No,
Shouldn't have been.
you can look at it 2 or 3 different ways.
Well, I mean, if I've got 100 acres of woods and somebody builds that nice road through there, my $1,000 acre property just went to $5,000 an acre. Or 10 maybe.
He's asking 10. Why do you have to,
mine's
I
not
don't have
zoned.
surplus, right? I mean, those lots are for sale right now, right?
Yeah.
That's the only way you can dispose of county property is
You dispose of
can
county
auction
property
or
as
declare it
as
surplus.
surplus.
Sell.
We can sell it now to an industrial prospect, and you can get away with it that way. But just to go out right out and sell this property to any XYZ, can't do it.
Why can't you? I thought we got it advertised with a realtor right now.
We got to advertise for an industrial prospect. You can get away with that through the state. The Department of Local Government looks at it there, in a
So if I was a
different light.
millionaire and I wanted to invest some money, I couldn't just come in there and buy that property and say, I just want to settle?
It's speculative? No.
No,
Really?
we'd have to advertise and you make a bid for it.
That'd be a good training session.
Yeah.
To,
But now Salt River's active, we'd like to have it because it just benefits where they're going. That's why this issue's here.
Why wouldn't it be considered an industrial prospect?
Because they don't want to pay what the realtor's asking for. That's
Nobody
what,
wants to pay it.
that's the catch 22 there, is that correct?
well, they paid $7,000 for this.
What have we got this listed for with that CB?
That probably not listed with it. They only got the 100 acres here listed. None of this property is listed with. This is some property.
How much are we talking, Dean? You say it's worth $10,000?
It's
No,
19.
that's what we owe per acre to, as of May the 7th. Right.
I see how you come up with that equation, but I still think that since that road's there, I think that property's worth
You're
it.
thinking retail, I understand.
I mean, you know,
Well, it's, I told the judge, if you go over and fill out your lane, that one over there is listed at 35,000.
And I tell you what you can do, if you really want to move some property, advertise it, see what you can get out of it. Or we'll hold it another 15 years and we'll pay,
Now,
you'll have $5,000 in at the end of the term.
there are no sewers along that area, and it will be expensive to build.
And there's no water there.
is that piece you got?
Water's
that sewer on? For
Yes.
35,000?
It's, well, it's sewer available over there.
Well, this is sewer available too.
Yeah, but it's expensive. We stopped going that way because the terrain
That's-
is extremely rough.
Pretty rugged in there.
We sewered the land that we got, 5 or 6 big industrial lots is what we did, but we quit going that way because it's just rough. It just got too cost prohibitive.
I'm just presenting it to you.
I know,
No
I know.
decision has to be made today. You know, despite what Nikki says, we don't have to do a thing. They're in a planning process. And I think, I just, rang a bell that you guys said you wanted to reduce the amount of your note. And it rang a bell to me that this might be an opportunity.
Bernard, didn't you say at the last meeting that you thought they wasn't even interested in it no more?
I thought so, they currently are.
Or they kind of pushing, yeah.
Well, they're in the process right now of planning their
Future definitely.
facility,
Uh-huh.
and if
And they've gotta move here
if
pretty
they
quick.
can get this, I'm sure they don't have to have it, but if they got it, that may involve their plans for what they're gonna do later on, you know.
So is the regulations gonna be on this when we put it up for sale, per se, that it's gotta be an industrial
Those have,
prospect?
they already have deed restrictions on, they're not deed, this property is currently zoned, which means they would have to follow the current zoning regulations.
Either that or.
Under I-1.
And it's what I1?
I-1.
Is that
Light
the
industrial.
Light industrial.
Light industrial.
I don't see any advantage holding on. I don't see any industrial going there.
Well, I presented it to you, let's don't, you guys get your own thoughts together. I'm not, I don't want to press the issue because it's not a fire that has to be put out. In my mind, you know, it was just a presentation.
What's the process take if we do decide to do it? It takes about 60 days to do it.
Oh,
We gotta
Probably,
advertise.
probably at least 30 to 45 days, yeah.
What interest are we paying?
1.7.
But now that's subject year to year. We've got enough as high as 5.5–6%.
Yeah, it's dropped every year
Yeah.
in the last 6
Based on
months.
what?
Treasury.
Yes, Treasury.
We're paying about 8% a year. 307.
How many acres each one?
19 point some odd acres is
What they want, try 20 acres.
It's about
$200,000.
$200,000+.
Oh, we got a meeting in 2 weeks.
Yeah, unit 4. I just want you to digest it. I'm not, I think it's a good concept. Obviously, we'd like to get the retail price out of it, but if we can get the,
I'd like to go look at it.
You know,
Someday I can go around right now.
Carter, if you'll remember, when we bought that property, we always said that Woodlawn Road side of the property is probably property that we would probably just have to dispose of in a unique way, either by residential, or at that time, there was a lot of residential going
It
on.
was. Did we not at one time have the opportunity to buy another acre out there? Remember?
Another acre. Oh, we had an opportunity to buy the farm that Salt River had.
Yeah.
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 What did sell for now? You remember?
The farm that they've got about 7,000.
I think he said $7,700.
Yeah.
How much ground they got?
44, I think, 42.
I forget, I thought it was in the 70s, but
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I can't remember.
Well, if that's 100 acres right there, at least 2
Well,
tribes.
if this is
But it's the
20
same-
But Miss Hart owns a little property on
They got a little bit better.
605.
Who does?
Miss Hart owns a little property here
Oh, yeah.
on 605 right here. I don't know how much she's got in there.
One used to work on lawnmower?
Uh-huh. Or with the widow, Miss Hart. Okay, let's move on. Tom, do you want to talk at all, Brad, about anybody want to discuss any more about the radio tower site? Everybody okay with moving forward with negotiations with Salt River on that?
We'll get a long-term lease with them.
Yeah, be better.
I think that's a good idea.
We're kind of getting the documents together.
Just, and we'll get the specifics.
It's gonna be our tire.
It'll
Is that
be
correct?
Third ground, our tower. It'll be a 199-year lease. What we generally discussed was $1 a year. We have access to the top, and then once we put our utilities, our 3 or 4 satellites on top, then we're getting information from them on what they needed to put on the tower itself.
According to Joe, those have to be 20 feet apart.
Ours do. Theirs can be more condensed in a specific area, but we got to know very specific from them what they're putting up there. We got to determine wind loading, downforce loading. Is the tower we got now big enough? If it's not, what do you got to go to? All those options are a moving target right now.
All right, another question. Suppose somebody else wants to put a antenna on there.
No, that's our tower.
It's our tower.
It's our tower.
Ours in the agreement
That
we'll
will be
have
in
with
agreement.
Salt River.
It's the same thing with Salt River. Salt River can't lease it out since it's on their ground. They can't lease out of that
Correct.
It'll
spot.
be spelled out in our contract. We'll let you guys look at the contract before we go.
You see where I'm going with that.
How about this? We'll let Matthew look at the contract and you guys look at the contract.
But if we.
I like the other alternative first.
We do got the right.
We've got,
There won't
the problem you will get into, Bernard, is the more stuff you put on it, the bigger tower you get. The
Okay.
bigger tower you get, the more money you get. So all this has to be thought up in front, and what we're running up against is what Salt River's needs are and what our needs and wants are. Is the tower we got now even gonna be big enough? So you gotta go up to the next size, well, how much cost is that?
Joe's working with the.
Exactly right. So we don't want to build something that 2 years down the road is not big enough, but we don't want to build something that's going to cost us an enormous amount of money that's never going to be used for a little bit of money you're going to get off of the lease.
See, we have a tower now that we own,
Thing.
laying on the ground somewhere, 45, it's called a Model 45.
Yeah.
It can hold what we want to put on it, maybe 1 or 2 antennas. from
And it's
Salt River.
300 feet, right?
300 feet tall.
And
It'll
the
be
company
a
that put it on,
1,000 feet.
1,050 feet up in the air. to-
And this is replacing the existing tower that we're leasing.
Oh, on Candy Fork Road, we're paying a lease on.
Correct. Pays for it. Any way that you could, maybe talk them down 50 cents a year instead of $1?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
The only question I had is I didn't want REA to be able to lease a spot on the tire for $700 or $800 a month.
Little history there, we used to, when I first became judge, we leased tire space from Mago. All of our road department tires and landfill tire space with Mago. And then, what about you all, Eva?
We're on Candy Fork.
Yeah, you've always been on Candy Fork.
And Concept Communications.
Concept, yeah, for our EMA and
all we leasing right now.
we're leasing from
Concept,
Arnold and.
Yeah, on 162 is our tower, isn't it?
It's Concept Communications.
Now, those will go away.
Right.
That lease will go away. if we
Well, at
get
least
our-
one of them, sure.
At least one of them,
The big Mago tower fell too, didn't it,
yeah. I don't know.
years ago? Across the, yeah.
Too many antennas on it.
I don't remember why, but I know it went across 245.
There's a whole lot of weight up there when you got all those.
Yeah.
You get that
A lot of
wind
wind
distance.
loads.
Okay, let's move on to board appointment. To the Bardstown Nelson County Air Board. Actually, I think a longtime member, Johnny Mayer, resigned from the board. And, he was very active on the board. And to be honest with you, the last 15, 20 years that Johnny was serving on that board, the Air Board advanced a lot. A lot. The runway extension, the hangars that were built, the improvements and grants that were sought from the Air Board has made a difference in our airport and allowed some of our corporate jets to come flying in now that used not be able to be here. But David Sutherland's been involved in the Air Board. He's been coming to the Air Board meetings over the last several years. I don't know if y'all know David or not. David is he's kinfolks to Dan Sutherland at the Flyers place and a few other Sutherlands around. I won't call all their names. But David would be an active member and a good member to the board. I would ask this report to approve my appointment.
Motion to that effect.
Motion been made by Sam to approve, second by Jerry Hahn. Any further discussion? All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? Motion will carry. You have a signed copy of that. Yeah, thank you. Okay, next order of business will be the Design Review Board, number 197, Alvin King. Jeff, this is in your district on New Shepherdville Road. He has been approved for RV storage facility, and Design Review has approved it with conditions as usual.
I'll make a motion that we concur with the design review board.
Motion to approve, is there a second? Second by Jerry. Discussion. Keith.
Yes, isn't this the same guy that we had in here about a month ago?
Yeah.
Oh, we're zoning. He wanted to get some additional acreage, so,
Yeah.
but so he come back.
I just want to be sure I was in the right place.
Okay. All approve, say aye. Aye. Disapprove? Motion will carry. Mr. King, I had a long conversation with him prior to that meeting. He's still a forward thinker, and give him credit.
That's a polite way to put it.
I had the HRA renewal on there. You folks, I don't have a copy to give you. Would you check with Greta, see if she's got a copy of that you can make, please? And we'll come back to that in a minute. Make you do that. That's a health reimbursement where our employees get $1,000. Y'all remember that?
Yeah, for the ones that don't take it.
That don't take our health insurance, and I want to get a copy of the interim matter of record. We'll go on to the jail report.
Okay, today we have a total of 106 inmates. We have 1 in Hardin County, 1 on home incarceration. I have 27 state inmates. We have 8 serving weekends, so we have an in-house total of 96. For the month of April, we averaged on controlled intake, we averaged 16 a day. Class Ds, we averaged 12 a day. Nelson County inmates, we averaged 84 a day, so that was a total daily average of 113 inmates. For the arrivals for April, we had 170 males, 58 females, that's a total of 228. Releases, we had 150 males, females we had 52, so we had a total of 202 released. Sentenced inmates out of district court, we have 11. We have 6 serving weekends. We have 5 waiting for court, which we have court today, and I think there's several on the docket for today. And then home incarceration, we have 1. Work release, we have 2. This is all out of district court. For our state inmates, we have 17 controlled intake, 10 Class Bs. Out of circuit court, we have 3 serving weekends, which they're still technically state inmates. We get paid for them. And then serving jail time out of circuit court, we have 12. 3 of these are out of drug court.
It's a higher number than usual, isn't it?
Quite a bit. A lot of it is contempt of court.
Yeah.
So they're not state inmates.
Not state inmates.
No. And of course, our drug court, they're paying $15 a day to stay there, so they're paying a little. Community service, we have 8 serving non-community service. We have work release, we have 2. We have 51 waiting for court out of circuit court. So we have a total of 56 inmates that have not been sentenced.
I got a question. I noticed the other day on 150 Woodridge Parkway, there was inmates from Rue County picking up garbage.
Good question.
The question was, why?
That's a...
We're glad to hear it.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's actually a contract that LaRue County Detention Center, who holds their county inmate populations much less than ours. They can hold a lot more state prisoners. They have about the same size jail we do.
Right.
But they can hold a lot more prisoners. So they've got a contract with the Transportation Cabinet.
We were offered the contract, but we just didn't
don't have enough qualified to go out. So a part of the contract, they have to service the district, the region, and part of that is they're mowing the right-of-ways there at the bluegrass interchanges. And, instead of just bush hogging them once or twice a year, we're able to mow them with a regular mower and weed eat. A few other little spots around the county that they're doing. They picked up litter for us before and so forth. So it's actually through District 4 office, Patty Dunaway's office, and E-Town that kind of coordinates what needs to be done. So it works pretty good.
Yeah, it looks good. I'm just curious why some of the expect.
We'd love to have, I know Dorothy would love to have about 10 or 12 a day to take out like that.
I know it's 52, they cleaned it up one day.
Say our average, say our jail holds 100 people, 70 probably are waiting to go to court or be sentenced.
Right.
70%. So we're down to 30 that might get a chance to go out. Out of that 30, then some of them are actually on where they go to work at day and some at night, so they're not qualified. And you've got those that can't go near school for various reasons, they can't go out. So you go through a whole list. Now, we are getting some out now.
Right, yeah.
We are getting some out.
How many inmates LaRue County Jail are?
About 100, 95 to 100, isn't it? About like ours?
I think it's about 160 something.
Is it that big? Okay.
And Hardin's at 4.
Probably. So that'd be a good idea.
Hardin County's over 600.
600.
I'll tell you, maybe the next court meeting, just maybe do it. I used to kind of keep those numbers in my head, and maybe let's check our district, our Lincoln Control district, see how many beds are in our district.
We have a jailers conference in 2 weeks, So I'll be with the jailers then, I can find out from them.
Yeah, I'd be curious just to keep an update.
Yeah.
I'd say in our Lincoln Trail district, Grayson County and Hardin County both have the biggest too.
Right.
Well, Marion County's pretty good size, about 350, aren't you?
Yes.
That's pretty big. But you know, Marion County, for years, jail turned over money to the general fund to the county. Now, this last year or two, there's been a big change in the way, are you familiar with that, Dorcas? Their money are very slim now to be able to turn over, and I can't remember the details of why they're not able to turn the profit they want. I don't think they're able to keep the state and federal prisoners that they work.
Well, Bernard and I was at a conference the other day in
Breckenridge County.
He said the same thing. He said last year was the first year he went into the regular.
Yeah.
But before
They're
that,
not
he was
able to get,
self-supporting.
they're just not able to get the state inmates now that they were. And what the jailers are trying to get it to where they don't, the state doesn't use the private prisons anymore. Because it's taken away from them, the state inmates. I mean, 1st of May, there was a bunch of releases. I mean, it didn't affect us, but it did all these other.
That was that result of that Pew report,
Exactly.
changing the laws.
He also said that, like General Assembly, that hurt him for $1.80.
I bet. You always with the Breckenridge judge or jailer?
Jailer.
Jailer, okay.
Well, both, actually both.
Both were there.
But we're talking.
That was Judge Lucas.
Yeah, he had a few comments to say about too.
Now, is that the one with the mustache? Now, I got a Breckenridge meeting next up.
He just take their second. I don't remember his name. Breckenridge, I'm pretty sure, big guy, city news.
Well, Breckenridge would be a big guy. Jerry Lynn, maybe. Anyway, let's go back to the HRA. Rhonda gave you a copy. I don't like to ask you guys to vote on anything if you don't have it in front of you. This is what you did last year. The contract with, they're a third-party administrator. Anybody that's used that card, it works pretty well, I think, is what I've heard. $1,000.
I use it every year.
I used it also.
Pretty good.
Can I get a motion to approve entering this contract again with,
I'll make the motion.
thank you, Byron.
I'll second.
Second by Keith Metcalf. Any further discussion? All approved, say aye. Disapprove? Motion will carry.